Hey, what's up, YouTube family and extended family? We're going to jump right in for this 52-week HBCU Savings Challenge update. But before we do that, as always, let me start by thanking you for checking in with me, sending me ideas and information, and sharing and making this collaborative effort to improve our financial position what it is. Like I do each week, I want to start by just sharing with everyone what our two core principles are that we'll follow. And one is the quote from Arthur Ashe: start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. And the second is it's your money, so there is no wrong answer. So again, thank you for tuning in. Listen, I've had some very interesting conversations with some of you this weekend. I've added to the description my email address. Some people have questions and different things that they want answered that they don't want to share on the social media stream for everybody to see and things like that. And I hope that going forward, people feel comfortable asking it. We're a community of sharers. Good information comes from everywhere, and sometimes your questions, if shared in that format, will help somebody else. So don't feel pressured to do that. I've added my email address and other ways to contact and communicate with me directly, but know that together we will grow these strategies and approaches that'll help us all move forward. So on the 52-week challenge, I learned something interesting that I didn't realize last week when I said that I would do one of the challenge. I was going to be doing the challenge twice to support my goal, and one I was going to do in the backward format from 52, starting at week 52 and working my way down to 51, and the other one I would do in a traditional format to walk and share with you guys so that you could follow along. I was going to start at 1 and go all the way to 52. What I didn't realize in saying that at the time is I was basically committing to $53 a week every week, because as one grows from 1 up to 52 and the other one is coming from 52 down to 1, they're moving at the same pace, and so each week it's $53. I'll do that, but each week I'm not going to cover those with you. I just want to share with you something interesting that I learned. I didn't even think about that in that format when I was committing to do that last week. So for those of you who are joining on the challenge, I have a little visual to share and show that this is the week 2, which is $3. So I have the $3 put away in the jar. And please know this is just for visual context so that you can see and follow along and see how the money grows. The other deposit that I'm doing, or the other challenge portion that I'm doing, I am actually adding that weekly to my Acorns account, so that I'm taking advantage of the stock market and letting it grow. So I am doing the challenge, and I am keeping that money in one of my savings tools, and I chose to use Acorn just so that I'm not spending more time selecting different stocks and different options. I'm putting in something where I just make the deposit and then they treat it like a bank account, and so far I've been very fortunate that it has grown. I wanted to answer in this format just a few of the questions that have come in. Very interesting questions and good dialogue, and I thank you. The first one that I want to answer is if you simply have the $1,378 available, is it okay to just pay for all 52 weeks at one time? The truth is, can you physically do that? Yes, you can do that, and yes, you would have technically completed the challenge. However, I want to remind everyone that the 52-week challenge, as we're doing it, is really not about the money. It's about the process, and the process of making yourself a financial priority for 52 weeks. All right, 52 weeks of saving for yourself and making yourself a priority is really what this is all about. There are so many little lessons that we'll talk about over the course of this 52 weeks and how it benefits you. But at the end of the day, it's about the process. It's not about the money. So if you have $1,378 and it's available to put it in, again, one of our core principles is it's your money, so there's no wrong answer. So you can approach this thing any way that you want to, and putting the 1378 in an account right now, there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Just that some of the other principles and some of the benefits of sticking to the process will be lost on that. The other thing is, if you just have $1,378 sitting around available to invest or to save in that way, maybe the level of the challenge for you, maybe you need to do something a little bit stronger, a little bit harder, so that it challenges you in different ways to help you make yourself a priority. That's one question. The second question was one that came from two separate conversations with two different groups that I've had since we posted the first video, and that was about not having or not believing that they had the money to do this, and I don't want to be or sound dismissive of that. Everybody has different money values, different amounts, and different things like that. And so saying that $1,378 is not a lot of money, that's relevant or relative to who you are and how much money you have. So I'm not being dismissive of that at all. But in the conversation, I tried to share with them an example of how those two individuals in two separate conversations actually did have the money. And so that the point was whether or not they wanted to make themselves or treat themselves as a priority. Example one, in one conversation was with a person that I've known many, many years. And so I've had the opportunity to observe them. I'm familiar with some of their spending habits and some of the things that they did throughout the last 20 years. And I said, so if we look at what they do, one of the things that they do is they have they're a big sports fan, huge sports fan. And so they have all of the sports packages and things with their cable. And I said, well, how much do you spend for cable on a month, average month? And it was about $175, $176. And when you break that down and divide it by 30 days or number of days in a month, you're talking about just over $5, between $5 and $6 a month that they're paying for cable, that they can afford to pay for cable and have been paying for cable services for as long as I've known them. And I said, okay, so my point to everyone is, okay, what do you believe is more important than you to yourself financially? All right, if you take this 52-week challenge and divided it into a daily rate, it's going to come down to about $3, below $4 a day. And so my question to them and my point to you in sharing this is, if you can afford $5 to $6 a day for cable, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, can you not afford $3 to $4 to pay yourself, to make yourself a priority? Do you view AT&T, Comcast, whoever your service provider is that more valuable to you than investing to you? So that's a question that we shared and we talked about. The second conversation was very similar conversation, very similar dollar amount and what they were paying, but that discussion came down to the phone and their cellular service provider and what they pay for their service plan. Again, it was $175, $176 a month. I'm not familiar with who they use for service or what all they have. So at the end of the day, my question to them was, is this service more important to you financially? And that's just a decision that you have to do the thought and review for yourself to come up with. Again, there's no wrong answer. If they believe that a phone or cable or whatever service that they're paying for is their priority above saving and doing the 52-week challenge, there's nothing wrong with that. That's their choice to make. All right. And so I would encourage you again to evaluate what you're doing. That's one of the things that we hope will come out of participating in the 52-week challenge, is that you'll evaluate what you're doing and make those decisions over time that help you begin to shape your financial future and will then lead over time to you improving your financial position. All right, so keep that in mind. As we did last week, we want to recognize an HBCU. So interestingly, last week when we did the video, we talked about me being a huge Steelers fan and the fact that the Hall of Fame game was coming up. So we watched that game, and lo and behold, during the game, a Steeler, Donnie Shell, was being inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. I'm watching him in an interview, and Donnie Shell is wearing a South Carolina State alumni shirt. I'm a huge Steelers fan. I'm a huge Donnie Shell fan, but I didn't know that he had gone to an HBCU. So this week, we want to recognize South Carolina State as the HBCU. I'll be adding their link in the information below, and we want to encourage high school seniors and juniors, and even those earlier on, or anyone considering college or university, to take a look at South Carolina State University. Now, South Carolina State University is a campus that I have not visited. So as I was thinking through this, over time, one of the things that I'm going to set up for myself is to start visiting some of these college campuses. I've been to a lot of HBCUs. I've been to a lot of colleges. In general, my career has taken me all over the world and to many, many institutions of higher education. But there are some HBCUs that I haven't visited. And so I'm going to make that a priority for myself. I haven't outlined a plan on how to do that yet, but I will. And I hope to share that with you as I come up with some more of the details. The second thing is, just as an update, my daughter has not provided any additional information on what her college trip plan will be, where we'll go, what we'll do, and those things. What I've said to her is that I'm going to give her the standard 2-week time period to get herself together. If not, then I will start putting some things together and try to figure out, based on what I know she likes and where she wants to go, and pulling from things. She's a teenager, and teenagers approach things on their time. So I apologize I don't have an updated detail to give you on our trip, but we are still moving forward week by week. We're at $3 now. We're moving into week 3, so we will be adding the third week deposit early next week. One last note that I wanted to share was something that I saw online. These challenges that are out there, the 52-week challenge. One of the things that someone shared from their 52-week experience was that, as opposed to going from $1 and on up to 52, or from 52 down to 1, which is the 2 ways that I'm doing it, that some people bounce around. So based on how much money you have and when you have it, and what your financial payroll situation may be, or how you come across money, this week, instead of doing 1, you may do to $7, or this week you may do week 25 and bounce around, which works very well. I wanted to clarify that works. It really doesn't matter which one you do when. What's important is that you commit to yourself to make yourself a priority for 52 weeks. If you jump around like that, and you keep your log so that you know where you are, there's absolutely nothing wrong with changing it up and doing it a little different. All right. So again, this week we want to recognize South Carolina State University. This is the HBCU 52-week savings challenge. We encourage you to share this information, encourage others to save and to get involved with making themselves a priority and changing their financial position.